So just coming off the Olympics, working with NBC Sports Group, very exciting partnership. We've been working with them since 2012, started in London, worked with them for Sochi, and now with Rio. So that's been a long-standing, very mutually beneficial partnership with those guys.
Okay.
So for Rio, they were using Adobe Primetime for authentication, so all the TV Everywhere authentication was through us. Dynamic ad insertion, so they used a unique client and server-side approach, which nobody else in the industry is doing right now. NBC Sports has been very progressive, very technologically sophisticated in their rollout of ad insertion. There's a sort of a raging debate in the industry about server-side versus client-side.
Right.
We think that is that's not the right way to think about it as one or the other.
I think it would be really valuable for you to dive into that, because a lot of the talk in the industry is the server-side ad stitching that is the problem around dynamic in-stream for performance. So just take us a little bit deeper there.
Sure. So there's major benefits and trade-offs with server-side ad insertion. One of the major issues with server-side is that it's not IAB compliant. So for any buyer that is looking for IAB compliance, server-side is not the way to go. Second, with server-side, you don't get real device interactivity. So if it's a Roku, if it's an Android, and you have really high-value ad units that are using buttons or anything on the client, on the device itself, you don't get that interactivity from server-side. And those are the ads that sell for $50, $60, $70 CPMs. So server-side is good for lower volume, less expensive, where reliability is not as much of an issue, but for real big events, real big concurrent audiences, anything at massive scale, using a hybrid server-side and client-side approach tends to scale really well.
Okay, so Campbell, you guys have been doing a lot in regards to dynamic in-stream insertion, right, in linear. Tell me about some of the accomplishments, because performance is a huge issue and you guys are leading the market there.
Yeah, so dynamic ad insertion, replacing the broadcast ad with a dynamically targeted ad. Specifically for the Olympics, the performance was excellent. So NBC has stated publicly that the dynamically inserted ads sold for 2x the CPM of the traditional broadcast ad. So NBC makes more money, it's better for consumers because they're seeing a dynamically inserted something relevant and personal, and it's better for the advertiser too, because they're able to get a more targeted message to the viewer.
Right, but I think, it's important to note, like, this is a long time coming, right? Because a second or two of black screen in a linear feed is a no-no,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, and people have been doing DAI for some time. This is not a new concept. Certainly in QAM, in traditional linear, dynamic ad insertion has been around for a while. What's new is the scale over IP. So for the first time, we've seen more than a million concurrent viewers and over 1 million concurrent ad insertions, which is a lot harder to do technologically than on demand, where everybody is cutting to the ad break at a different time.
Right.
So when you have 1.7, 2.5 million concurrent viewers, that's a broadcast size. When everybody cuts to the commercial, everybody is seeing the ad at the same time, and hypothetically you could have individually targeted ads for every individual viewer. That's not the case. They aren't actually doing that right now, so they could have 6 or 10 different ads to replace the broadcast ad, but just replacing those when you have millions of concurrent viewers is really hard to pull off.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah,
that's a big victory. So VR, tell me what you're doing there. I was
I
heard about this and I was like, shut
virtual,
the front door.
Yeah,
tell me about
virtual
it.
reality is cool. You know, we're wondering, is this going to be the 3D of this year, and in 2 years nobody's really talking about it, flash in the pan, or is it going to be something kind of cool that people are obviously investing right now, but it is a very nascent space. What we're doing on the Creative Cloud side, we're building in 360-degree editing capabilities into both Premiere and After Effects. So all of the Creative Cloud suite is designed to support virtual reality content creation and post-production. And then on the delivery and monetization side with Adobe Primetime, we have a new client, so new device-side software support for virtual reality environments, as well as VR ad insertion. So actually inserting ads into VR environments, and also a dynamic object insertion. So you can replace the objects within the VR environment with other objects. So if it's a can of Coke, you can replace that with a can of beer. If you know that you're trying to sell beer to a certain target demo and you have a certain campaign come up, so that new dynamic object replacement in VR is something new and pretty cool, and we're doing a demo of it at the Adobe booth.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.